Today, we're traveling to the Green Man store in North Hollywood, California to meet with Carrie, their resident High Priestess, to see if she'll share her secrets of the craft. The Green Man store's purpose is to bring a very diverse community together in unity. All walks, all races, all genders, all orientations are welcome there. My name is Melissa Saint-Hilaire, and I'm a professional witch, and these are the secrets of the craft. What is a witch? According to the Merriam-Webster's dictionary, a witch is a practitioner of witchcraft, especially in adherence with a neo-pagan tradition or religion, such as Wicca. Do you call yourself a witch?
I do. I know that there was a time in the world where that was a bad word, where it meant somebody who did baneful magic on others, and that was all that meant. Although it was also a false accusation in many cases. You go back to the Salem witch trials, I'm pretty sure none of those people were actual witches. But you fast forward to today's vernacular, and yeah, it applies. It's to me, a witch is somebody who can perceive spirits and actively works with them. So, by that description, I am a witch.
What even is witchcraft? According to the Merriam-Webster's dictionary, witchcraft is rituals and practices that incorporate belief in magic and that are associated especially with neo-pagan traditions and religions, such as Wicca. What is your craft?
My craft, I am a British traditional witch. We practice British traditional witchcraft. We have a coven that is based in that tradition and has been running for over 27 years. Longer than I've been in it, that's for sure. But and it differs from a lot of there are as many different flavors, if not more than, of witch and paganism as there is in Christianity. And our particular brand of witchcraft is not religious in nature. It is based on having the gifts, which means that you've got second sight of some kind or another that brings me back around to having an ability to perceive spirit and have an innate desire to work with that. And that is a great deal of what we do.
How do you incorporate your craft into your professional life?
I try to keep the two separate as much as possible. I will say that I have been known to throw some wards up in my space at work. But I don't want to get too caught up in doing magic in the office space. I keep it protected and that kind of thing, but otherwise I try to keep it separate as much as I possibly can. So I think that when I'm at work, because I do work here in the store, but when I'm working my office job as a bookkeeper, I need to be on it. I need to be sharp. I need to be focused, and I need to not be scaring people by acting outside of societal norms.
Tell us a little about where we are right now and what you offer here.
A little? Wow, that's a tall order because we offer a lot here. We are at the Green Man store, which is in North Hollywood. And even though store is in the title, the store supports the community center, and that is really the heart of this place is the community. We opened it because we wanted to have a place for community to gather. There was a lack thereof, and we kept waiting for somebody else to be dumb enough to do it, and we finally stepped up and did it. So the community is the more important thing here. I mean, obviously we offer all kinds of witchy wares, anything that a witch might need for their personal practice or upcoming ritual or, planetary celebrations, whatever. But we also offer classes here, and we offer rituals here, and we always make sure that the people that are doing those are varied, because we're very we didn't want to be a segregated community. We wanted to celebrate our diversity in union. So that's been a fun thing. We have Druidic things happening here. We have Wiccan things happening here. We have Strega things happening here. Astrological things happening here. Shamanism, and British traditional witchcraft.
I know you're a high priestess. Can you tell us what that means?
You know what that means is that this is my circus and these are my monkeys. I think that there's a common misconception that the High Priestess is the reigning, is the supreme, right? And that there's a superiority there, and that there needs to be kowtowing and that kind of thing. And that's not how we do it in my tradition. I could never get behind something like that anyway, and I was certainly, my predecessor was not expecting thereof, and I don't expect that either. It's a great deal of responsibility. It's a great deal of work. It is more service than anything, and that doesn't mean that it isn't without its joys and its benefits, but it is a great deal of work and service. And how do I talk about what my job description is? I mean, I am there in support of my partner. I am there in support of my coveners. That means I'm the coach and the teacher and the mother and all of those things, and anything that you would think would go with those things. I have to be constantly assessing and catching up and paying attention and teaching and correcting and all of those things. It's all a part of it. It's a great deal of responsibility.
And did becoming a high priestess change how you practice at all?
A great deal. It did. I mean, basically my practice hasn't changed, but the way I have to approach it has. So now I hold space every time there's a ritual. I make sure the work gets done, whether the people who are centering are able to do that without help or not. I'm there for little pushes. I'm there for all of those things. And all of this adds up to mean that it's no longer about me. It's really not about me. It's about the tradition itself and the stream that feeds it, and that's how it's changed. That is a big change.
Awesome. And if you do so, how do you incorporate your craft into like your everyday routines and mundane life?
That's a hard thing to address clearly, especially to anybody who might be watching this that isn't a witch or pagan or identify as such, because I am my craft. So I have constantly, even since I was little, have always seen the spirit in everything and have addressed the spirits of things. I've always been a namer. I used to name some of my items of clothing. I name all my tools. I name my car. I know that there's a spirit there, and I give it a name, and that's something that I've always done. So that's always a part of my life. Obviously, I'm very drawn to the spirits of nature. I have a lot of pets. I have a horse. I commune with them, not like you would see on TV where you're having a conversation, but where there's this opening and flow of spirit between one and another. I have a deaf cat, and I talk to her, and people laugh, and I say, no, she understands me. And it's not because she can hear me, it's because she feels the spirit of what I'm saying. Everything is about spirit. So.
Awesome. And just as a side note, I was the same way.
Yeah.
Like everything around me has a little spirit in it everywhere, and I thought it was normal.
I did too, and then I started getting weird looks from other kids, and I was like,
oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
This, my Barbies and my trucks have spirits. What?
Yeah.
What would you tell yourself if you could travel back in time and give your younger self any witchy tips?
I think first and foremost, I would tell my little me not to listen to what I was told wasn't possible or to what I was told wasn't real. I was constantly told, God, you've got a big imagination. Get your head out of the clouds. Stop daydreaming. What are you doing? This is math class. Hello, that kind of thing. And I was a very weird little kid. And I think I would have told little me that that's okay. You'll find your tribe. Your tribe of weirdos, and it's all going to be okay.
What's the most embarrassing or funniest thing that's happened while you've been casting a spell or performing a ritual?
I've got two examples. One is just funny. I was here at a psychic fair one day, and Griffin and I were working behind the apothecary, and I was doing spell candles all day long. And this couple came in and wanted an uncrossing candle for their household, basically. And so I was in the zone. I'd been doing candles all day. I was in a magical headspace. I was not paying attention to what I was doing. I grabbed the candle. I was in the magical zone, but I wasn't in the practical zone. So I picked up the candle and what's your first name? What's your first name? What's your last name? And I thought, I'm going to just put their initials on here together. And I did that. And then I went, and I looked at Griffin, and I didn't know what to do because the couple's standing right there. And I looked at him and I showed it to him, and he just, without even a blink, grabbed it out of my hand, threw it in the trash can, and said, you know what, we've decided to go another direction with your candle. Let me get a different candle, and she'll start over, because the initials spelled DOA. We just made sure that they didn't see that. But yeah, that was one of the most horrific moments where I was just like, oh, what did I just do? I was not going to help somebody with an uncrossing. No. So that was in a spell casting. In a ritual, it actually ended up being a really magical moment. The way that we work in ritual is we don't practice. Because we work with spirits, we want the spirits to have some input to what we're doing. So if we practice in advance, it's going to be done. There won't be anything left to do. We don't work with liturgy. We work very free form and let the spirits direct somewhere the magic goes, and that's how magic can happen, because we don't lock it down. So we were doing a Caradwin ritual out here in the back, and we had this whole elaborate thing with a tripod holding the cauldron, and the cauldron, there was a fire underneath it, and we were making the awen. And if you don't know that mythology, please look it up, because it's great good fun. But what we were going to do was, once we were done with making this awen, which had a bunch of different herbs and milk and all kinds of things in it, that was going to be the libation that we shared with the public, a big public ritual. And just as we charged it, it bubbled over. And what's funny is that Caradwin didn't really want to share her awen when you looked into the mythology, and it was just like, yeah, you think you're going to feed this to all these people? Now it's in your fire. What are you going to do? And I just kind of went, and again, Griffin thinks really fast on his feet. He took the wand off of the altar, and he stuck it in there, and then he started sprinkling the crowd with it. And that's how they got their libation that night.
Perfect.
Yeah. And then everybody came up to us afterwards and said, that was the most amazing thing. How did you time it so perfectly? And we were like, well, of course, we absolutely planned it that way.
Nope.
No.
No, the spirit planned it that way.
Yeah.
Are there any secrets about your craft that you'd like to share?
No. That's why they're secrets. I don't know how I would answer that question. Secrets that I would want to share. If I share it, then it's not a secret. So no, I really don't have anything to respond to that with.
But you are going to show us a spell today.
I am going to show you a spell today.
Okay.
And it was one that I was actually sworn to secrecy on, but I was also told in that moment, and witches are free thinkers, I was told that someday when I was a teacher, I could pass it on. And I have done that, and I am a teacher, and so I will pass it on today. I have passed it on in class. I will pass it on today.
Awesome. Thank you. We are at the apothecary bar with Carrie, and she's about to show us her secret of the craft.
We made an apothecary bar because when I was very, very small, probably about 4 or 5 years old, we went to Ports o' Call to pick up my brothers from a Boy Scout camping trip to Catalina, I think they were. Yeah. So we were in Ports o' Call, and I followed my nose. It was back in the days when you could let kids just run around and be wild, and I followed my nose into a little shop that smelled like incense and magic, and it just excited me so much that I walked in there and found a bar with bar stools. And I climbed up and was looking at all the things that they had, and it was, I could read quite a bit when I was very young, and there were things that was like, this incense is for this, and this little package here is a spell for that, and I was just like, oh. And that has always stuck with me. So when we opened the store, I wanted an apothecary bar just like that place had. And we even had bar stools for a very long time, but we, after COVID, took them away so that people wouldn't linger for too long. So that's why there's a bar.
I love that. That is so cool. And, it's such a lovely bar.
It is.
And now, do you want to tell us a little bit about what spell you're going to share with us today?
It's a secret spell. So this is the first spell I was ever taught by a mentor of mine who asked that I keep it quiet, but that once I had students of my own, that I could pass it on to students of my own. So I think that the premise for the need for this spell, and a witch does what is necessary, not what they want. The need for this spell would be when somebody's throwing shade at you, you know. If somebody's is talking bad about you or to you, or just throwing shade, whatever. It's a way to take that and turn it around and put it to your benefit. So that's what it is. That's what it does.
Let's get to it.
So the first thing that I want to say about this particular spell is that as our craft is based in spirit, the biggest spirit that you're working with when you do any kind of magic is your own. So while I said that this is if somebody's throwing shade at you or being mean to you or talking bad about you, it needs to never be about that other person. You need to make it about you. What you're doing is you're taking the spirit that they've created of that hatred or annoyance or whatever it is, and you're working on that only. You're not doing anything against the other person. The other person shouldn't enter into it. As soon as they do, then there's no undoing it. There's no reworking it. That's not what you're working on. What you're working on is the spirit of what they've created between you. And so what you need for this spell, first of all, is you need 3 candles. Chime candles are the perfect thing for this. The chime candles are the little 4-inch candles. You will need a black candle, a white candle, and a green candle. First and foremost, that's what you're going to need for your spell. Now, because you're going to light them, you're also going to need candle holders. So these are the 3 candle holders that we're going to be using. And you will need, a lighty thing, something that will make fire. Because we're going to light the candles, what else do you do with candles, right? So the first and foremost thing that you want to do in this situation is you want to take your black candle and you want to think of the situation without making the other person a part of it. Think about how you feel. Think about the shade being thrown. Think about the nasty things that were said. And really, really bring it into yourself. Bring that into your spirit. It's not that far anyway, because otherwise you wouldn't even be doing the spell. And you bring that up within you, and then you're going to put it into the black candle. When we do this in my craft, we use the breath to do that because the breath is spirit and we are working with spirit. So I'm going to take the spirit of that thing and I'm going to put that spirit into the black candle with my breath. I'm going to and let the black candle have it. And I'm going to put it in its holder. And I'm going to light it. Bringing life to it now. There it is. There's that spirit that I want to undo. Not undoing it so much as working with it for myself. I'm going to let that burn for a bit. And if it goes out right now, I'm going to be pissed. Don't do that. Thank you. A little bit of magic there. I'm going to let that burn for a bit. I'm going to let it burn until I feel like it's time to turn it around. For the purposes of doing this, I'm not going to make you wait for that, but that can go for as long as it wants to. You can even wait for it to almost go out if you want to. It actually would probably do your magic a lot of good if you did. So let's imagine that this is all the way down to here, and it's almost out. Now I'm going to take the white candle, and I'm going to light it from the flame of the black candle. And the purpose of this is to take the energy, just the energy itself, not its intent, not the way it makes me feel. I'm going to take it and cleanse it into just being pure energy. There's no hate in there, there's no shade in there, it's just energy. That's the job of this white candle, is to take the negative energy and just turn it into pure energy that can be used for another purpose. And again, I'm going to wait for that to burn down to where it's almost done, to where it's a nub. but not today because that would be boring for you to watch. Then I'm going to take this green candle and I'm going to light it from the nub of the white candle. And the purpose of this green candle is to take that pure energy and bring me prosperity. And I'm going to let that burn until it goes out on its own. And honestly, you guys, I have done this spell many, many times since I was first taught it, and I can guarantee you it really works.